MacBook Neo or MacBook Air, what's the best Mac for you? Well, you're here because you are in the weeds. You've fallen victim to Apple's marketing. You know the spec sheets backwards and forwards. You've watched every comparison on YouTube. Well, this is the place for you because in today's video, we're gonna pull you out of the weeds and we're gonna figure out what is the best MacBook for you. Is it gonna be the MacBook Neo or the MacBook Air? Let's get started. Now, just so we are on the same page, we are not talking about speeds and feeds. As much as I love Excel and graphs and all things like that, doesn't do us any good. We're gonna talk about user experience. This is the M5 MacBook Air. This is the MacBook Neo. Now, maybe you're upgrading from an old Intel Mac, maybe you're coming from an M1, M2, or maybe this is your first Mac entirely. Either way, you've done your research, you know exactly what these devices offer, but you still haven't figured out which one's the right one. Well, here's what I want you to know before we go any further. This video does not pick a winner, right? What it does is it gives you a framework so you can decide on which one's gonna be the best one for you based on your needs, because everyone here is capable of deciding. You just need to answer the right questions first. And that's because every MacBook reviewer will tell you which one is going to be better, but better for who really? I mean, who are they even better for? That's a question that most reviewers never even answer, and it's the one that actually matters really the most here. So we'll start with something that has nothing to do with specs and everything that has to do with you, the viewer. Now, as much as you might have been led to believe, the MacBook Neo and the MacBook Air are not competing products, and they're actually made for two different buyers. The MacBook Air is built for someone who knows exactly what they want, and they want all of it. They want light, they want powerful, they want capable, they want zero compromises. Now, the MacBook Neo, on the other hand, is very different. It's not pretentious. It's a computer. It does a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's built for the person who is certain about what they know that they won't do on their computer. So keep that in the front of your mind as we're going through this video. It's not a weakness, it's deliberate, it's for the right person, and that is the entire point of the MacBook Neo. Think of it this way, being overserved by technology is a lot like going to a buffet. Buffets are great, they got a plethora of choices, you could really eat what you want, there's something for everyone there. But if you are someone who all you ever do is eat soup and salads, going to buffet is not really that much fun. That doesn't make the buffet a bad restaurant, but it does make the buffet a bad choice for you specifically. So overserved means paying for capabilities on a machine that you'll actually never even use. And here's the honest statement. If your entire day is spent in Safari, email, web browsing, video calls, documents, you will never ever feel the difference between either of these two machines. Ever. The Air gives you all the capability that you could ever want or ever need in this small form factor. Between the processor, the RAM, the storage, it's for someone who will push it without a doubt. But for someone who won't, that is real money spent on idle potential, not actual performance. So the first question is not which Mac is better, because they're both great Macs. They are. The first question is whether or not you're a buffet person or you're a soup and salad person. And to answer that, you need to be honest with yourself about one thing. Air buyers know exactly what they care about. They care about screen size, external displays, video call quality, backlit keys, trackpads. On the contrary, Neo buyers know exactly what they don't care about. They don't care about port speed, they don't care about color accuracy, the number of external displays they have, or core count. Those are things that are not really even important to them. They might be important to as a computer, but they're not important to them. So this makes the question not what will I do now, instead it flips it into what will I never do on this machine. If you can answer that clearly, you do not need the Air's headroom. If you know that you'll never edit video, you don't need the Air. If you know that you'll never connect it to more than one display, you don't need the Air. And that's the point of the MacBook Neo. It meets you exactly where you are. Now, my wife has had the same compute ceiling for years. Email, Excel, video calls, and light browsing. It hasn't changed. She could do all that with the MacBook Neo, but she is a MacBook Air user because she knows herself. Screen size matters. She can get a 13.3 or 15.6. The other way around, 13.6 and 15.3. She knows that she uses external displays. She knows that she has the storage capacities. All those things matter. Once she answered those three questions, we landed on the Air within 30 seconds. And that is confident right sizing. Now, knowing your needs is just one half of the decision. The other half is knowing where you're starting from, because where you start changes the size of the leap entirely. Because the leap is not about speed. It's about how you compute. It's about form factor, use cases, portability. Think of it as a pyramid. At the base, you are brand new to computing, then you have Intel stacked on top of that, followed by M1, M2, so on and so forth. As you progress up the base, each level changes what the upgrade feels like. If you're coming from no computer at all, the biggest change that you feel is on the bottom. You're just going to a computer, and computing is like revolutionary to you. If you have an Intel machine, the Intel impact is just not as broad, but still significant. So as you move up, it feels less like a revolution and more like a refinement. Now, if you're coming from no computer at all with zero frame of reference, both of these machines feel like a revolution, without a doubt, but you should focus entirely on what you're gonna use the computer for, and the MacBook Neo is absolutely your starting point. And if you're coming from Intel Mac, this is a huge leap. Everything is faster, smoother, more reliable, but I think the performance gap between the Neo and the Air coming from Intel kind of disappears here. You're not really gonna notice that big of a difference because it's just so much dramatically different or much more powerful than Intel. So for me, the first step is gonna be the MacBook Neo. It's easy, it doesn't complicate you upgrading into Apple Silicon, and you're not overserving yourself with technology that you might not need. This is the starting point, not necessarily where you will end. But if you're coming from an M1, M2, you're really buying refinements here, not reinvention. So understand that you're paying for very little, I'd say, benefit when you come from those newer processors to either one of these two machines. And if you're coming from an M3 or M4, honestly wait, because there's nothing here that's meaningfully gonna change your day-to-day experience. All right, we've covered what the machines are built for, how well you know yourself, and where you're starting from. But before I give you the next question, I want to reframe one thing for you. Affordable does not mean cheap. It means focused and deliberate. Spending money on compute buys you compute latitude, so to speak. But if you don't need the latitude, you're just like paying for real estate that you're never gonna visit. It's not really that good, and you're not getting a good return on investment. The Neo's best buyer is not a budget shopper. It's someone who is completely self-aware and they know what they need, because choosing the Neo is not about settling, it's about precision and deliberateness. It really is. Here's the one question I would ask yourself. Fast forward 6 months from now, a year from now, you have one of these computers in your hand, it's whatever one you want to think it is, it doesn't really matter. Would you be more glad that you saved money, or more glad knowing that you wouldn't have to think about buying a new computer for another 4 or 5 years? If you're more glad that you saved money, the Neo is the computer for you. Not because it's cheaper, because you know what you're going to do with your computer and you've right-sized yourself into the purchase. But if you are like, I want more flexibility, or I want more latitude in my decision, then the Air is going to be the computer for you. You're going to pay for it. Know that you are going to pay for it. And remember, price is almost never the right frame of reference for this type of decision. It's all about self-knowledge. Now, let me know down in the comments below whether you landed on the MacBook Air or the MacBook Neo. And I was thinking about picking up the M5 MacBook Pro to review. So if that's something you want to see, let me know. Now, if you found this video useful, I would really appreciate it if you clicked like, so YouTube would know that people like you and people like me would also find this useful, so they could go ahead and spread this out to more people inside the audience. And if you're new here and you want more decision framing content, go ahead and click that subscribe button. My name is Mike, and I am out of here. I'll catch you in the next one.